Most of these games we love have some limitations. Games like Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, Starfinder, even games like Delta Green, Call of Cthulhu, Vast Grimm, they require you to have both a game master who's weaving the story and at least one player who is experiencing the story. If everyone at the table wants to experience the fun of discovering the story as they play, or if you just want to play solo, they pretty much have to go play another game. And there are some games out there that have solo modes or that don't require a dedicated game master, but we love the games we love. And that's what today's paid Kickstarter preview is going to do for us. The Radiance Adventure Engine by Oddfish Games here will let you play your favorite RPG solo, or will give you a method of generating the story of your game on the fly, so that everyone can be surprised, and so that your game master doesn't have to prepare everything ahead of time. If at any time you want to see more or back the project, you can use the link that will pop up occasionally in the corner of your screen up there, or that will be in the doohickey down below. And using that link will let the project creators know that you learned about them from us. The Radiance Adventure Engine has been in development for several years now, and it's been play-tested hundreds of times with different role-playing games. And it's all run using a series of gorgeously illustrated cards. Keep in mind that everything you see here is subject to change and can be used with pretty much any TTRPG system. Each adventure is a story, and the roadmap is provided on these stage cards, which will walk us through what to do every step of the way. And the first step is figuring out what the main conflict of the adventure is going to be. So to do that, we draw a story card. And this is going to be the overall plot of our adventure. So here we have the conspiracy. Detail or hero conspires with Detail to bring down their enemy, Detail or hero. The words in black there serve as variables, and you fill them in like you would a Mad Lib. The hero is the player character or the whole adventuring party, depending on how you're playing. So I think our heroes will be trying to conspire with somebody else to bring down the big bad guy or the big bad something. We draw cards from the detail pile to finish off our plot, and these cards are meant to be largely inspirations, not to be taken too literally. So we have two details, so we're going to draw two little detail cards. And we have the psychiatrist and the hermit. So what does this bring to mind? So for me, let's go with the psychiatrist. I'm picturing an adventure that takes place in an old school mental asylum where they lock away people who they find problematic. In one way or another, right? So maybe our heroes are in prison because they were a threat to somebody powerful. They were inconvenient. Now they need to work together to bring down the head of the corrupt asylum from the inside with the help of the hermit, right? So maybe that's another one of the inmates. So the cards here give us some descriptions, little descriptors to help us flesh things out. So this one says, reclusive, monastic, ascetic, and wise. So I'm picturing a potentially powerful but silent figure who's been in the asylum for a very long time. There's rumors that they're actually a very powerful wizard whose mind was broken due to something that happened to him. And if you're playing in real life, you can spend a little time here fleshing out your setting, who the psychiatrist is exactly. Maybe fill in some more details of who the characters are and why they're there. But for the purposes of our video, we're just going to keep on forging ahead. So we have our main conflict. Now you can set these little detail cards aside so we can use them later. And we don't resolve this story card, which represents the whole adventure, in the same way we normally would. So for now, we can just set it aside. Speaking of which, the system does have a very handy little player mat that you can also pick up to keep everything nicely organized on your table. It is a $30 add-on in the campaign. For our next step, we can refer back to our stage card here. Main story. It all begins here. Complete a story that details events that hint at or foreshadow the core adventure problem. And there are a few rules. There are no mandatory complications. We'll talk about those later. Independent stories may be played, again, later. And we flip the fortune token to rising fortune. So this token, which has a rising and falling fortune side, helps guide some of the actions in the story. So let's draw another story card. This one is the heresy, so this seems pretty promising. Detail or hero believes in a dangerous or heretical belief, which brings them into conflict with Detail or hero. So I think this is probably a great opportunity to explain why the heroes are in the asylum to begin with. So our heroes believe something, which brings them into conflict with somebody. So we have one detail, so let's draw one card. So we have the temple, which seems very promising. And now, according to the rules, you can also use the details on the back of the card. So in this case, it is the critter. So at this point, you or your group has a choice to make. Did you come into conflict with the temple, or the critter, or one of our previously used details, the psychiatrist or the hermit? The temple seems most appropriate, and it is a way to expand our story a little bit. But if you had a great idea for a critter, you can run with that. Or maybe the psychiatrist is really the ultimate big bad here, and he was the one who originally locked you away, which is also good. But I'm just going to go with the temple. So let's say that our country here, I'll call it Piccolonia, has been going through some hard times. And devils from the 9 hells have been using that as an opportunity to work their way into society, making a few deals here, a few there, and now the majority of the power rests in the hands of the cultists of Asmodeus. Our heroes, who worship good aligned deities, come into conflict with them. So the heresy card here says, heresy always makes for strong emotions and conflict. This story automatically gains an additional complication. We have some possible complications listed at the bottom here, and the first one seems just fine to me. Reaction force, religious or cultural authorities are on the lookout for heretics and dissenters. There are cultist enforcers in our town here, which is, we're going to call the town Shepherd's Call. And they're there because there are rumors of heretical rabble-rousers around. So next the card says that we need to set a narrative goal for ourselves here, which will resolve through a series of paths. So let's say that our cultists are putting the pressure on our town, and they've seized some of the mayor's family and the grain silo, which is the town's really going to need to rely on because the winter's coming on. So we want to regain control of both of those. So now we start drawing paths to resolve, and we can choose 2 and pick 1 to resolve. So we're going to draw 2, and they're on the back of our little story card here. So we have mean streets and rescue. Perfect. So let's take a look at these and choose 1. Mean streets. Our hero encounters detail, an entity at home in an urban environment. And rescue. Our hero must overcome detail to save or help detail. That's just too perfect, and so let's go with that one. I want to go with the rescue card. So we'll draw 2 detail cards here. So I'm going to put these down here. Draw 2 more detail cards. We have wealth and automaton. So, and on the back, we have fame and the beach. Okay, so I think the wealth card could represent the grain in the silo. The grain is worth everything in this town in the winter, so we're going to try to rescue the grain here. Now, maybe we could have said, like, fame represented the mayor's family or something else entirely, but we're going to go rescue that grain. So we must overcome the beach or an automaton. So maybe they have literal automatons guarding the silo that we're going to have to defeat in a battle. But maybe we're not like a combat-focused party, so maybe we can go with the beach. Let's say that the front of the silo is connected to the main roads of the town, but there's like a river around behind it that's less well protected. So we're going to have to find a way to get through the river to get to the shore or the beach and then up to the silo. So let's go look at our rescue card again, which is over here, and I'll put these down over here. So it says, prologue. Before beginning this path, our hero must take a prologue action of moderate difficulty to find or reach the party needing assistance. So this prologue action is not resolved on the paths and actions table, which is a table we'll come back to later. So now the party can roleplay how they want to navigate that dangerous river in order to safely approach the bridge, or the silo. So if you're playing solo, you can kind of figure out how that works best for your hero and your story, or your group of heroes. But let's keep it simple and say that we're going to swim and that we need an athletics check. And I'm just going to use standard 5e rules here, but like I said, you can use any rule system you like. Just do a check with moderate difficulty for your particular game. So roll that die and see what happens. For the sake of our rules explanation here, let's just say that we succeed and we make it to the beach. So looking at the actions section of the rescue card now, it says we roleplay an action of moderate difficulty that can test our hero's ability to extract, save, protect, heal, aid, or help the party needing assistance. Subsequent actions are against moderate difficulty and can be based on rolls or encounters that make sense narratively. If an encounter occurs, all parties are of moderate power. So you might roleplay and do checks about sneaking up to the silo undetected, trying to break into the silo, trying to distract or knock out the guards, trying to move the grain under the cover of darkness to another location that the cult doesn't know about. However your group wants to go about doing it. And let's remember that there's a complication, right? That there are cultist enforcers wandering on the streets. So that's a threat that's always out there too. So when you finish playing that out, you consult the paths and actions resolution table, which we talked about a minute ago, to get your results. And we are in Rising Fortune at the moment, and depending on how things played out, positive, mixed, or negative, you take your results, any rewards that you might have earned, and you continue with your story. And that's the gist of how the system works. You've got lots of different actions you might have to take depending on your story. There are cards detailing narrative actions and counter actions, preparing actions, and a lot more. You've got B stories that you might want to partake in that further enhance your characters or the setting or whatever you like. You can earn reward cubes, which come with the system, which you can spend according to the reward cards like this one. Or you can just use the built-in economy of the game you're playing if you want to. The bulk of your storytelling is on these cards here, which have the paths on one side, all these, are the stories on one side, and then the paths are on the other. The final card count hasn't been set at the time I'm filming this, so go check out their Kickstarter page for all those details. And they all have unique art, which is really kind of cool. And there's going to be lots and lots and lots of all these little detail cards here. You can find out all the little details on their Kickstarter page. And there are a ton of ways that you can use this system. You can play your favorite TTRPG solo and develop some cool stories. You can use it to try out the mechanics of a new TTRPG that you're thinking about playing. You can use it to run your favorite TTRPGs without a dedicated game master where everyone around the table gets to contribute to the story equally. You can also use it as a journaling game. You can use it as practice with being creative in the moment using prompts, which will help your overall game mastery skills. And there's also reference cards to help keep you on track. And again, everything is subject to change as the Kickstarter gets going and more people get a chance to provide feedback. As for pledge levels, you can get the system, the Radiance Adventure Engine, for $50. You can bundle it with their other product, How to RPG with Your Cat, which we really should cover at some point, for $80. You can also bundle it with some great games. For $90, you can get the Radiance Adventure Engine along with a physical copy of the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition core rules. For $90, you can bundle Radiance with one of the Modifius 2D20 games. And again, check out that Kickstarter page to see exactly which ones are available, but I promise you, you're going to find something you like. And for $130, you can get the Radiance Engine along with the Savage Worlds rules and one Savage setting book. And of course, they have stretch goals as well. If they reach their funding goal, you can help them unlock Radiance Advanced, which opens up new adventure types and stages and stories and path cards. The Luminous Campaign Engine, which can enhance your campaign story. And the Shine Story Writing Engine, which helps you use Radiance as a story writing tool for your journaling games or your adventure creation or even like your novel writing. All of these things will open up new pledge tiers as well, so be sure you kind of keep checking back to see what fun things they've added to the campaign. This is one of the most creative projects that we've reviewed. It gives you a whole new way to enjoy your favorite games and to flex your creative muscles. It's really well thought out, it's really versatile, it has the added benefit of just kind of being gorgeous too. You can check out the campaign using the link in your corner of your screen up there or in the doohickey down below. I know you might have questions because it is pretty complex, so leave all those questions for me down below. Anything that I can't answer myself, I will forward to the folks at Oddfish Games. Thank you so much for watching today. If you don't know me, my name is Theo, and I'm the co-proprietor of the Gallant Goblin over on YouTube, and I won an Emmy this year as a writer for the Uncaged anthology, Uncaged Goddesses, so I know a little bit about storytelling and adventure creation. You can come chat with me on Discord or find me on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. For now, stay safe, have fun, love each other, and I will see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.